Dystopia warning, obviously, welcome back to hell. Now, it's safe to say it's been an absolutely disastrous end to recess for the Conservative government, and that's something that would normally bring me an enormous amount of joy. You know, another scandal, another nail in the coffin. But it's quite difficult to feel happy about this scandal, yeah, because it involves the government putting tiny children's lives at risk. In the words of Marvin Gaye, what the actual fuck is going on? I'll tell you. This morning, ex-civil servant Jonathan Slater went on Nick Robinson's Radio 4 programme and dropped some truth bombs. He revealed the truth about the government's abject, some might say criminal negligence regarding the school buildings programme. He said that during his time as a civil servant, they had significant data that suggested that there was a critical risk to life, the lives of children, your children. It was revealed that 300 to 400 schools would need to be rebuilt per year. So the Department of Education went to the Treasury. The Treasury only agreed to rebuild 100 per year, despite there being a critical risk to life. Despite a concrete block falling in a primary school. Jonathan Slater was shocked to find that after he left, they'd halved that reduced figure to 50 per year. 50 schools per year. And who was the Chancellor then? Rishi Sunak. Now, RAAC has been a problem for many years, granted. However, Labour had a plan, a £55 billion school building scheme. When the Tories got into power in 2010, in their coalition government, they scrapped it. They were condemned at the time for doing it. The situation became extremely dangerous under this government. There was issues with schools crumbling in 2017, 2018. They've only started to take this seriously weeks ago. They can't claim that they didn't have the data. They had the data. They refused to prioritise children's safety. They put children at risk of death. Now, if this was any other government, this would be treated as the absolute scandal that it is. But I've been watching the news today, and all they're talking about are the schools crumbling. They're not talking about the fact that the government has known for many years. They're not talking about the fact that the government haven't funded the school buildings programme properly. People need to know whose fault this is. In any other job, you'd face charges, suspension, sackings, possibly criminal charges for negligence. Yet the people that make our laws are untouchable, and that's terrifying. Today it's been a case of pick the worst headline, frankly. There's not just the headline that Sunak knew all about this and did nothing. There's the fact that they still don't know how many schools need to close. So your child could be in a school that's at risk of the roof caving in. Then there's also the headline that Sweary Keegan has prioritised £34 million on revamping her office to look like a Patrick Bateman sex hotel. Where could that money be better spent? I don't know, maybe paying teachers properly, giving them danger money for working in schools at threat of collapse, paying nurses, paying for the building works. No, this is their priority. And that's not all for Sweary Keegan. Footage has emerged of her swearing post-interview when she didn't know the cameras were still rolling. Yeah, that's right, the Education Secretary was caught swearing on camera, complaining that no one is praising the government. Here's a clip.
And every single one of them will be done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone ever say, you know what, you've done a good job because everyone else has sat on their and done nothing? No signs of that, no?
Fuck me. The absolute arrogance and gall of her. What do you want us to congratulate you on, Jill? The fact that you didn't kill loads of children? It's your job to do this. It's your job to take the stick for this government's failure. Zero accountability, zero credibility. They're taking the absolute piss. They've not just ruined the country, they've not just put kids at risk of the roofs falling in, they've not just cunted the economy, they've killed satire. In other news, MPs are starting to submit letters of no confidence in Rishi Sunak. One senior Tory MP has been quoted as saying nobody believes Sunak can win. His Director of Communications, Amber de Botton, stepped down after less than a year recently. I mean, look at the situation we're in. Who will replace him? Are they going to do another leadership contest? Another one? I mean, look at who remains in the party. Even Nadine Dorries has left, and she can't think. Well, I mean, she was found out for doing no work and just being an all-round general media hoe, but my point stands. That party is like a wasteland of far-right dangers, misfits, fickos, criminals. And fucking idiots. We're actually in a situation where it's not impossible that Grant Shapps could become Prime Minister. Prime Minister Grant Shapps, with an entire front bench made up of his own aliases, like being John Malkovich, the hamster version. Here we have Chancellor Sebastian Fox, Health Secretary Michael Green, Equalities Minister Corinne Stock. It could happen! It could happen! Though more likely they'd make it Mordaunt, because, you know, she can hold a fucking sword. Anyway, in other Tory news, it gets better. Tory male candidate Susan Hall was pictured out on the campaign trail at the weekend. Guess who she was accompanied by? Andrew Rosendale, a Tory MP that was arrested on suspicion of rape, indecent assault, abuse of a position of trust, misconduct in public office, and has been bailed at least 4 times. And no, not just that, he remains in his job. Sunak has not just failed to sack him, but they're standing this guy at the next general election. And he still enjoys all the benefits of being an MP. Not just the wage, but the access to schools, to public spaces, to community events, to hospitals. It's a Tory way, isn't it? Sometimes I think the entry requirements for being in the Conservative Party is being a sex offender, you know. Are you a raging nonce? No? Sorry, O'Bean, you're not allowed in. Unless you're willing to stick your finger up someone's arse in Stranger's Bar. You don't meet the requirements, I'm afraid. And finally, David Frost, Brexit architect, saying that he's fearing for the future of Britain and that it's a country in danger of giving up. Whose fault is it that the country is in such a state, you fucking dickhead? Schools are crumbling, the NHS is failing, the taxes are excessive. Who's been in power for 13 years? Fucking hell. Just give it up. Call an election, accept the Labour landslide you deserve, and piss off into obscurity, you bunch of fucking clown shoes. Right, that's me done. I'm going to make like Nadine Dorris and go down a litre of gin.